with Frank 615, and you're watching Muscle Sport TV, the most jacked and tan show on the fucking internet.
And welcome to Muscle Sport TV's NFL Coast to Coast, right here live on Instagram, and of course me in New York, Joe Pietaro, he in LA, Dave Comerica Muscle Goys. Dave, welcome.
Thank you, sir. How's everybody doing? How are you doing?
How am I doing? I'm doing wonderful because the NFL preseason has started. Yes, I know it's preseason, but it's still NFL.
It's something. It's throw a bone to dog.
Yep, definitely. But
throw a dog a bone.
We had spoke about doing this program for a while. We did a little taste of it on the last episode of MSTV. Iron Man Glass presents MSTV. But today is our first inaugural full episode. They will be seen every Wednesday live at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 o'clock Pacific. And we will also archive these on the Muscle Sport TV YouTube channel. So without any further ado, we're going to get fucking rolling right now on the first episode of NFL Coast to Coast. We're going to do a little preview, guys. Each week, we're going to do two divisions. And we're starting with the NFC East and North today. And then next week, we'll do the other two in the NFC and respectively in the AFC. But we're going to get rolling right now in the NFC East. Dallas Cowboys, last year, 13-3, Dave, had home field, a first week bye, lost by a field goal, 34-31 to the Packers in the divisional round of the playoffs. Dallas comes back this year, year two of Dak Prescott, year two of Ezekiel Elliott, right now facing a 6-game suspension, trying to reduce it. My personal opinion, it's going to knock it down to 4 games. That's still a full month without their top dog at running back. How do you see Dallas Cowboys this season coming in from a great year last year, regardless of the playoff blunder?
You know what? I think Dallas is going to do absolutely fine just by the strength of schedule alone. Mm-hmm. So even without Ezekiel, that strength of schedule is like you got Giants, so you have your one divisional playoff game right there. Then you get the Broncos, Cardinals, Rams, and Green Bay. So I see them at least easily going 3-3 before this, if he goes the whole full 6 for suspension. So I easily see them doing 3-3, and that offensive line is unbelievable.
Yes.
Dallas got a very good offensive line. So I don't really think missing Ezekiel is not going to be as detrimental as others would think.
It is. They do have a couple of guys in Darren McFadden and Alfred Morris who are proven running backs in the NFL. Obviously, their best days are behind them, but they're still very serviceable backs, and I think they'll be able to man the fort until Zeke comes back. But you mentioned the offensive line. Dallas has been known for years to have an amazing offensive line, but a little changes in the line this year. Left guard, Jonathan Cooper, this guy is a picked up from Arizona, so he's going to start at left guard. Lael Collins is going to move from left guard to right tackle. Doug Free retired. So right there, that's two big changes, but I still think that for the most part, that line is still going to be a strong point for America's team. I don't see, Collins, a lot of people are high on him. He had a good rookie year. Now he's got to do a great job over there. Cooper was a first-round pick, 7th overall by the Cards. Yeah, little issues and stuff like that with his career, but stability right now, going to a team like Dallas, which has great leadership and a great coaching staff, I think that this line is going to just ease right into these new guys that are playing different spots, one guy moving over. And Dak, 23 touchdowns, 4 picks as a rookie, Dave. Who saw that coming?
I blame that all on that line, man. That line, if you can't get to the quarterback, you got him time.
Yeah.
You know? I wonder how Dallas would be with a shitty offensive line. But we'll never know. So right now, they got that great offensive line. It's going to keep him out of trouble a lot. They have great weapons in the wide receivers.
Yep.
I don't even worry about Dallas this year.
They drafted Taco Charlton. Definitely one of the great, not the best name in the NFL. Ha Ha Clinton Dix on the Packers is my favorite name. They have some great names, these guys.
I think his parents hated him.
I say, ha ha, Clinton Dix, and my wife goes, "What the fuck are you talking?" I go, "It's a," and then we're watching the game. I go, "There he is, right there," and then she hears, "Ha ha, Clinton Dix," with the breakup on the pass. You know, so she's like, "Holy shit!" But Taco Charlton, definitely a very cool name, defensive end. They're looking to see some good things from this guy, but obviously they didn't pick at the high end of the draft because of their good season. Strong safety, Jeff Heath. He replaces Barry Church, who left via free agency. But for the most part, their main guys are returning. To me, I think they might take a step back this year, Dallas. I think maybe a lot of people didn't see what they had last year, didn't see those guys coming on as strong as they did, especially Prescott. Elliott was picked high. Prescott thrown into the action because of the rib injury by Tony Romo, which he ended up retiring now. So I think Prescott, not sophomore jinx type of thing, not a big drop-off, but I just think 13-3 is going to be hard to repeat in a tough NFC.
Yeah, they'll definitely have a winning record.
Oh, yeah.
I'm almost certain about that. What do you think about Ronnie Hillman, the addition of Ronnie Hillman to that team?
I mean, anytime you can bring in a guy like that, you gotta say it's a positive move, especially to a winning team already. So right now, the Dallas have been making very good personnel decisions, and I know it killed Jerry Jones for Romo to retire. I know he didn't want to trade him, even though they did look into that. They were looking to get something for him, and I think, so when they make a personnel move right now. Maybe not Belichick safe, but Jerry Jones has done pretty well for a guy that really learned football on the fly. He's not a football guy, and he's the GM over there, owner and GM. So I trust Jerry's judgment, and I think he has enough people whispering his ear to bring the right guys in there.
I agree. I totally agree. Do you want to take any of these viewer questions when it comes to Dallas? Do you want to do it that way, or do you want to hold it off?
Yeah, I guess we can do that. I mean, Shuey's asking us about Pittsburgh. We're going to cover them in a couple of episodes, Shuey. We're going to do division by division here. So if anybody has a Dallas Cowboys question, comment, or observation, please feel free, because we're going to be moving on then to the Giants, but we can always bounce back and address something on the Dallas Cowboys. But I'm going to segue into the Giants now, Dave.
Okay.
This is the team that I'm picking to win the division, believe it or not. I'm picking Dallas to be a wild card. I think the Giants, there's something about this team. When they have a good year, usually they have a down year, and then they bounce back and win the Super Bowl. They had a good year last year, 11-5. They made the playoffs. They got beat up by the Packers, 38-13 in the wild card round at Green Bay. I just think they brought in some good guys. I love Eli Manning. I think he's a slam dunk Hall of Famer. 2 MVPs, Super Bowl MVPs, 2 rings. People always give this guy trouble. They break this guy's balls. I don't know why. People don't realize that Eli Manning is as stable as you can get at quarterback.
I would trust him in playoffs over almost anybody. He's so clutch, especially in playoffs. He's calm. He's centered. He's got his shit together. He's definitely not a rookie. He doesn't get those jitters. He's on point. I'm a huge Eli fan myself.
I loved it when they got him. I thought it was a great move, obviously, with the whole Rivers thing, and they traded the picks and all of that, the draft rights too. But they bring in some weapons for Eli. They draft even Ingram, tight end.
Yep.
The Giants, they're not, they don't really do a lot of tight end type of patterns. I mean, years ago they did, but they've gotten away from that a little bit. They had Martellus Bennett, which we'll bring up in a little bit. He's going to come up later in the program. But I think that a guy like Ingram, I think they're going to give him some time to grow. They're not expecting huge things out of him right away, but that's the kind of guy that you can definitely use as a nice weapon, especially if your first option is covered. Bringing in Brandon Marshall, to me, was a great move. Great move. Now, Marshall did not have a great year with the Jets last year, was banged up, but the year before that, there was a disaster there last year. But the year before that, when the Jets were 10-6 and just missed out on the playoffs, if they would have won Week 17 at Buffalo, they would have made the playoffs. Marshall had a fantastic year. He's not the number one receiver. Obviously, Beckham is. you know Marshall's not going to see double coverage. He's a big guy that can go up high and catch overthrown balls, too. I think Brandon Marshall is going to have a huge year with Big Blue. I think he has something to prove. He's pissed off with the whole Jet experience at the end. He's a type of player that's he's a surly kind of guy at times, and then he's also jovial at times. He's a very tough guy to read. And when he's happy because the team's winning, he plays better.
Yeah.
Hence, the Giants are a good team. I think they're going to have a good year. I think a guy like Brandon Marshall is going to have a lot to do with that. Victor Cruz, I know, fan favorite kind of guy, and we'll talk about him because he went to the Bears. He was done. I mean, his knees were shot. He took a little parting shot at the Giants once he signed in Chicago. Listen, Cruz, you know, you were an undrafted free agent. You became a household name with the salsa and the chunky commercials and all of that. Listen, it's business. You move on to another team. The Giants, they didn't want to give him the money. They had to make that tough decision and cut him. But replacing him with Marshall, I think, is huge. And obviously, Odell Beckham, the guy is unreal as far as talent goes on the football field. Leaves a little to be desired when it comes to off the field. And I don't mean he's a thug. I think he's stupid. He just makes dumb decisions. With the whole boat incident, and then he doesn't show up for this kids camp and stuff, and he punches the hole in the wall and says dopey things. The Giants don't like that. But
he's got maturing to do, especially at a man at his age too. Yeah, man at his age and the money he makes, you think he'd be more grateful and be enjoying these opportunities, and instead squanders them. But that's a lot of these players nowadays. 20-year-old, you throw them a couple $1 million. They're not fucking thinking right.
Yep. Jet Angel 17 asked about what do we think about Zeke getting suspended. NFL had to do something. I think 6 was a little harsh. I think 2 to 4 would have been better.
6 is standard, I believe.
Maybe it is after the whole Ray Rice incident.
The whole Rice thing, 6 is standard.
I think that in this day and age, the NFL gets so much bad press, especially with domestic violence, that I think they just, better safe than sorry is Goodell's situation. But Elliot, I mean, the thing with the girl is bad. Punching some guy in the face in a club, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. I mean, guys do stupid things. They get into fights. Maybe the guy was being a jerk. Maybe the guy fucking started with him, and he's defending himself. I don't know. I wasn't there.
The cops didn't find anything, but the NFL did its own digging. So it's kind of almost like a witch hunt. Yeah. Stella down here says, we agree too much, Joe. We need to fight.
Lifting lemons. Stella is lifting lemons.
Just for the lemons, fuck your Jets. There you go.
Fuck the Jets. So back to the Giants. The one thing that they do have a big hole at is running back. They don't have a good running back. Paul Perkins right now, he was the 5th rounder last year. Not a lot of stats out of this guy. He's the starter right now. Because Vereen is kind of the third down guy, swing back out of the backfield, catches short passes. To me, I think somebody's going to get cut, obviously, week 3, week 4 in the preseason. Giants are going to scoop up a veteran running back. They're not going into the season with Perkins as their number 1 back. Maybe the first game or two if the new guy doesn't know the playbook right away. But before things are said and done, Perkins is not going to be carrying 22 times a game for the Giants. What do you think?
No, I totally agree. Then you also got Khalid Abdullah. He needs to step up. He's a rookie too. He could end up take advantage of this opportunity and show exactly what you got. That might be your breakout running back this year. Yeah. Because I don't see Green as anything like special, like you said. They need somebody to rely on that ball to open up that pocket.
Yeah, and they have a good offensive line. It's not great, but it plays well. I love Justin Pugh. Flowers has got to come into his own. They spent the first-round pick on this guy. They moved him around a little bit. He needs to really settle in at that spot. But the offense averaged under 20 points a game in 2016. That's not going to cut it in the NFL. You got to score 3 touchdowns or better a game. So obviously they won 11 games. So they did do enough to win some games, but those games could have won either way. Some of them. So what do you think of Wayne Gallman? He's a rookie too. He's another one that needs to be stepping up. Yeah, I mean the Giants usually. I mean they've had good drafts over the years. Reese has done a real good job. I know he doesn't get a lot of credit. He gets beat up sometimes, but I even go back to their Super Bowl 07 season and Bradshaw and stuff like. I mean, these are guys that he picked that nobody thought about, and these guys stepped up and they won a Super Bowl with some of these guys. I think he does very well in a draft in those middle rounds. So I think that guys like that you don't really get a lot of info about, all of a sudden you're going to start seeing them go, wait, who is this guy? Where'd they get this guy from? Oh, wow, he was that pick. Oh, wow, shit, I didn't realize that guy, because you're concentrating on Ingram as the first-round guy. So things like that, to me, when the Giants draft a guy, it's not just on a whim. They have good scouting out there. They look at smaller schools as well as larger programs. And I think those are the kind of guys where they'll step up and do their job. They may not be superstars, but they'll go in there and make some plays. And that's all you can ask for out of a guy that you draft that is coming in. It's not a marquee first-round pick.
Yeah, I actually missed Bradshaw on New York. He was the man. I was a big Bradshaw fan, too.
Yeah, he was a good player. I mean, I think that was a good pick. They've gone through so many running backs. I mean, you can just, over the years, I mean, David Wilson looked like he was doing really good, and then he hurt his neck. He had to retire. I mean, they've had so much turnover at backfield, and they've always found a guy to do the job, even if it was for a little while, 1 year or 2 years maybe. So somebody will step up this year, and they'll do that. But 7-1 at home last year at MetLife Stadium. I still call it Giant Stadium. 4-4 on the road. If you go 500 on the road in the NFL, you're usually looking pretty good, especially if you're 7-1 at home, hence the 11-5 record. So Giants have it figured out right. They have a good formula. I do think that they're going to beat out Dallas for first place. It may come down to the last week of the season, but I think when it's all said and done, it's going to be Giants. They won't get the bye. They won't have 1 or 2 seed. Mm-hmm. They'll be the 3rd seed, and then you're going to see Dallas, I think, will be a wild card there. You feel it's the other way around? You think the Giants are even a wild card?
No, I am definitely more up with the Giants than I am Dallas.
Okay.
Then again, I'm not going to be hating on Dallas because that offensive line, so you never know. Yeah. It depends on how far they go in these first 6 games without Ezekiel. That's what I really think is going to be the difference maker. If they can go 4-2 without Ezekiel, saying if Ezekiel is out for 6 suspensions, they're going to do fine.
Yes,
I think they'll beat out the Giants. But it depends on these first 6 games.
Lifton Lemons wants to talk Pennsylvania. We are going to talk Pennsylvania, but not right this second. We got to do the Skins first. I'm going by last year's records as far as there is no, hey, Russia, Miss Victoria. Hey, sweetie, you like the NFL over there? I hope so. But we're going to
football? You mean rugby?
It's Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. Prince Spaghetti Day. Carson Wentz. But let's talk about the Washington Redskins. An 8-7-1 record last year. Those ties they kill me. I hate them so much.
I do too.
They suck. But guys, we're gonna have interaction. I'm sorry. Just it's hard to do both because we're doing the Skype and the notes, but. I do want, if you guys have any questions about the teams we're talking about or comments, like I caught that Ezekiel one. Somebody said Giants, fuck the Giants, or Giants suck. I mean, you don't have to like the team, but you got to admit when a team is a good team. They were 11-win team last year. They were a good team. The Redskins, underrated. You know what? I don't know. I mean, the Redskins are a hard team to put your finger on. 2 years ago, they won the division, in a weak division, and they made the playoffs. Yeah. Last year, 8-7-1, very mediocre type of year. I don't even know where to start with the Redskins. There's not a lot to talk about with this team. They're boring.
No Pierre Garçon, no Deshaun Jackson. You have Jordan Reed's going to have to definitely step up.
Yep.
Terrell Pryor, hopefully he's got his feet in the wide receiver game and out of the QB situation. He's definitely going to have to be stepping up. And then you got a bunch of rookies. You got Josh Doctson. Like who's he? He's the one that's going to end up taking either Pierre Garçon or Deshaun Jackson's spot.
Yeah.
So these are all people, again, that need to be stepping up. Thank God it's preseason. They only play a couple downs and they're done. So
yes, yeah. But Crazy Hawk Mike thinks Kirk Cousins should go to Denver next year and win the Super Bowl. Kirk Cousins, they gave him, he's, again, this franchise. I mean, they're not giving him the long term. I don't know if Kirk Cousins is worth a $100 million 5-year type of deal. I don't know if he's worth that type of. I don't know if he's that good of a quarterback. I know his numbers are good. I mean, last year
numbers are great.
He had almost 5,000 yards last year, 25-12, and a 71.3 quarterback rating, 406 completions out of 606 attempts. So obviously his numbers are there.
The funny thing, Joe, about numbers is a lot of these are accumulated at garbage time.
Yes.
It's when they're getting blown out. And then all of a sudden they're throwing 200 yards just to be playing catch-up. So these numbers are very dubious if you go straight by numbers. 4,917 yards, 25 touchdowns makes him look like an elite quarterback.
Yes. That's why I haven't seen – I'm not going to lie and say I watch the Redskins every Sunday. I'll see the national game that they're on. So I don't really have a great body of work as far as Kirk Cousins goes, besides highlights and national games. But what I've seen of him, he looks like a very pedestrian quarterback. He doesn't look like he's one of these guys that's, a Pro Bowler. I don't know. I just don't see him being a guy that's going to command $20 million a year. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just haven't seen enough of him. But you mentioned Terrell Pryor, the guy you know well from your Oakland Raider.
Oh, yeah.
Being a fan, but he's not a quarterback anymore. He actually had he had over 1,000 yards receiving last year with the Brownies, and it looks like he's becoming a very good weapon at wideout from a guy that was a backup quarterback. So I think that's a good move for Washington. I think if this guy's ready to completely take that next step, if he hasn't already, because he had a great year with Cleveland, which they had no quarterback at all last year, and he caught a lot of passes. So I look at that as a big thing. Sure, losing the guys like Garcon and Jackson, veteran leadership, things like that, those are tough. But in the NFL, you know as well as I do, the turnover ratio is really high. And when the guy's making some money and he's older, boom. I mean, the guaranteed money's not there, so they can get rid of these guys.
Yep. Depending on their age, as soon as you hit 30, you're considered old as fuck as a running back, as a wide receiver. They start saying knees, not giving the guys the chances to play. They could have excellent records. Somebody will talk about later, LeGarrette Blount. Look at him. Yeah. He had a breakout season with New England. All of a sudden, he's gone.
Yeah, well, New England doesn't care. New England just lets them all go. Crazy Hawk Mike said he's worth 50 for 5 years. So he's got him in the $10 million range. But Cousins, they've been giving him. I know the franchise was 18, and then it was like 21 or something. So he's making good money because of the franchise tag. And if the Redskins don't pay him something close to that for a long-term deal, somebody else is gonna. So I don't know. I guess they're biding their time with doing this 1-year thing. But the real story with Washington is there's a possible seven new starters on defense. That's a lot, right? They drafted Jonathan Allen, defensive end. He was the 17th pick in the first round. Obviously, you want your first rounders to start. Everybody but the Jets seems to want their first rounders to be out there all the time. They signed the inside linebacker, Zach Brown. He had 4 sacks last year for Buffalo. And their main guy, Ryan Kerrigan, outside linebacker, 34 sacks the last 3 years combined. That guy's a fucking stud, Kerrigan, for Washington. So, to me, Washington's defense, it all depends. If you're going to have that much of a turnover with 7 out of 11 possible 7 out of 11 guys on there on the field, it's a question mark. And you're not going to know until you get into the regular season because you're not going to see anybody's schemes either way.
Yeah, plus let's see how they interact with each other and the team gels together. It's a whole brand new freaking team.
Yes.
So there's a big learning curve on Washington when it comes to the defensive line.
Yeah, no, that's definitely – it's going to be tough for that. I know somebody had asked, what about the Redskins' defense? And that's pretty much the way I think I'm looking at it, is that when you have that many new guys coming on the field, it's going to take some time to gel. Football is not like basketball, baseball. No. Hockey maybe it's a little more team-oriented. So, but football, especially on defense, I mean, it depends on who's calling the signals and all of that. If Zach Brown's calling the signals, he's a new guy. Usually you have one of your inside guys calling them. If you're not playing a 4-3. I just don't know. To me, I think the Redskins are going to have a tough year this year. I don't see them even getting to 500 this year.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think they're definitely the weak spot in that whole division right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough division. I think it's top-heavy more with the two teams we did first. But the Redskins, I think, are going to – another team I think that's going to take a step back. I could see them going 7-9, maybe even 6-10 if there was some injuries or something like that. But Philadelphia Eagles, Lifton Lemons wants – Mike says Redskins are going to be last. I think Dave and I both agree with that, Mike.
Totally agree.
Yeah, I think Washington's going to have a fucking shit year. Philadelphia Eagles, another team, 7-9 last year. Obviously, the thing I loved about them is they named Wentz the starter right off the bat.
Yep.
No mystery, no battle. I mean, then they got rid of they ended up finding a good deal for Bradford to Minnesota, so they got rid of him. But Wentz was starting. And the minute they drafted him, Bradford wanted out of there, and he could see the handwriting on the wall. So 16 touchdowns, 14 picks, 62.4% completion rate for the rookie Carson Wentz. I don't know if I'm a big Carson Wentz guy. I think last year those two guys were not top two picks. It was just a quarterback weak draft. I don't know how good is Wentz that good. I know he started off good.
Wentz has got some really good weapons behind him. They have a pretty decent offensive line and pretty decent defensive line, in my opinion. I think Wentz is going to actually do good. I really do. I think he's very confident, and he's all set to take over that leadership role in Philly. Yeah. He wants that team built around him. That's a good thing. You want a quarterback that wants to play for that position. Yeah. He's happy to be in Philly. I think he's going to do good. Second season there.
I think he's going to improve, but I just don't know if this guy's a top echelon quarterback, and he was picked in the spot where he should be if he stays healthy. Lifton Lemons obviously is an Eagles fan. He's making that well known, and that's good. I'm glad. You got to be passionate about your team. But to me, the Eagles still, anytime you start a young quarterback like that, you may not say you're in a rebuilding phase, and you may not want to call it that, but basically you go through three growing pain years, when you start a rookie from day one. It's not like he sat like when you put Peyton Manning right away in. You put Troy Aikman right in. They take their lumps the first year. He didn't take as many lumps as those two guys did the first years. He did fairly well. He almost broke 500. The thing I do like that they did, they brought back Nick Foles as the backup.
Yeah.
They have a good backup, and there's no, who's going to start. It's Wentz's job. Foles is the backup, but he knows the city. Different coaching staff, but the coach was the quarterback coach when he was drafted the first time around in Philly. So I do like that. I think Wentz may not end up being the greatest guy in the world. I kind of see him being kind of like a la Sam Bradford in his career.
Okay.
Well, he'll have some good days. Potential is there. Like Bradford was the first pick overall. I don't know, he's never filled those shoes, even though he's had some good seasons. He's played some shit teams with St. Louis at the time, but I don't know. I think Wentz is kind of along those same lines with a guy like that.
And Philly's offensive line isn't as strong as someone's, let's say Dallas, for instance, that had Prescott starting out as a rookie, and it made him look excellent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have an offensive line that's going to build your quarterback. Philly's offensive line isn't as deep as that. No. So he's definitely going to be going through some learning pains this season.
When you have the time to look off a receiver, it makes you such a more effective quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, it really helps you out. So offensive line, definitely your five fat guys up front can really make you look like, get you on the Wheaties box before your career's over. But you mentioned LeGarrette Blount before. 18 rushing touchdowns last year. What a unbelievable season, but Belichick don't care. I mean, he just, that's Belichick. So now the Eagles get him. I love the signing. I think it's a great idea. I don't know how good he's going to do on his team. Obviously, he's playing in New England. It's a whole different ball game. But when you have a guy that scored that much, obviously he's a goal line guy. You got the ball at the 1 yard line. You just give it to him. And let him do his thing. So how do you feel about Blount coming to Philly? Do you think it's going to be kind of like the DeMarco Murray kind of thing where he's just going to not be what he was?
No, I think Blunt's going to actually do really well. He's got Darren Sproles right on the side of him. He's the one that's going to probably end up taking the most of the carries anyway. And like you said, Blunt is going to end up being the goal line back to go to.
Yeah.
The guy is built like a brick shithouse. He's going to go through lines like there's no tomorrow.
Yes.
And I think he's going to want to prove a point too. Just like, look, I might be older, but I can still fucking play some ball.
Yeah.
You know, he just came off his career high in New England to get traded, to get switched over to Philly. So we're going to see. He's going to be really fun to watch this year. He's either going to be all in or he's going to have a fuck you type mentality and do nothing.
Yeah. No, I think he's not going to score 18 rushing touchdowns, and that's no slight against him. It's the guys around him. I think he's got the talent to do it because he's proven that. I just don't think he's going to have that many opportunities to do it with a team like the Eagles. Donald Pumphrey, the future running back of the Eagles. Mike, I believe you. I don't know who he is. I didn't get that far in my homework when I was doing this yesterday.
You know, Joe, I was going to say, Joe, carry me on this because I don't know this dude.
I can't carry that guy, but that's a good name, Donald Pumphrey. Doesn't sound like a football player. It sounds like a fucking...
Hey, Taha Dickinson all over again.
Yeah. I also do like some of the moves that they brought in. Torrey Smith. I mean, this guy was great on the fucking Ravens. Kind of disappeared the last 2 years in San Fran. He had in last great year was two years ago in 14 with the Ravens. He had 11 touchdowns, 4 and 3 respectively the last 2 years with the Niners. But obviously, team is different. The Niners had quarterback issues. Baltimore was really good. Oh, he broke the NCAA rushing record last year from San Diego State. Oh, very good.
Oh. That's why we don't know, Joe. We're not hip to that college football.
He's in San Diego too, Mike. So he gets to see that. Yeah, San Diego State. Another big running back came out of San Diego State.
Good job.
Yeah, Mike. We might have to get you on this show. We might get a 3-headed monster. We'll be like fucking Ghidra over here. But I do like the Torrey Smith move. I think he's the kind of guy that could do really well with this team. I think he's still got a lot left in the tank. They also brought on Alshon Jeffrey. He had 2 touchdowns last year, but he has 26 over 5 seasons with the Bears, with Cutler throwing him the ball. So definitely they brought in some weapons on offense to help out Wentz with the backfield and the wideouts. What am I looking at?
And they let go Ryan Matthews, too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, Matthews. But then also the trade, that's what I wrote these notes this morning. Ronald Darby. That is an interesting move. Jordan Matthews in a 3, right? So they lose a wide receiver there, but they pick up Torrey Smith and Alshon Jeffrey. But they trade Matthews with a number 3 to the Bills for Ronald Darby, who's very affordable. He still has a good contract. I think he's unsigned for 2 more years, and he had a very good year. Mike, I'm all for helping MSM. Thank you, Crazy. Ronald Darby, I think, could be a kind of guy that could be, you plug him in your secondary and you put him out there and you let him do his thing. And I think definitely Buffalo made some questionable moves, but it looks like they're just piling draft picks. Because in that other trade for Watkins, they picked up a 2 from L.A. Rams. So definitely Darby, a good thing. But Chris Long and their first rounder, Derek Barnett, this is going to be stuff that they're going to be doing right now. Connor Barwin and Vinny Curry gone. So definitely Connor Barwin was a guy that had a lot of sacks. And, losing a guy like him. And Chris Long has bounced around. I mean, he's never really totally panned out. He had some injuries early in his career. But I do think that the Eagles did make some very good personnel moves, and I think that'll reflect in the overall record. I don't know how many more wins than 7 they're going to get. 8 or 9 wins, I think, is a capping out. They're not going to go 10 wins.
I think a 500. I think them in Washington is going to be definitely the lower 2 of that division.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you're the Eagles or Lifton Lemons, one of their fans, Eagles win the division. Eagles, if you go 8-8 and Carson Wentz grows, you got to be thrilled as an Eagle fan because your whole future depends on if this kid could become a franchise quarterback, and it looks like he's on the way to accomplishing that. If not having Peyton Manning numbers, at least being a steady quarterback, which many teams can't they can't. Yeah, they can't say they have that. But look at that. We're almost exactly at halftime. Just a little pass, and we're going to shoot up to the. Anything else on the Eagles? Or you want to go NFC North? You ready to move?
No. See, my wife just joined, Joe. I just seen her pop onto the newsfeed. She's a huge Dallas fan. She missed us talking so much shit about them too. Now she's going to kill me when she looks at the replay later.
And you can tell her that I picked the Giants to beat out the Cowboys for the division.
Oh, she'll see. She'll see. This is going to be some dinner talk.
But yes, I did notice, Cherry, Miss Goys, Maria Goys, did join the feed. Hi, Maria. I hope everything is good. Wentz
the
will
real
be like
muscle
Alex...
behind America.
Wentz will be like an Alex Smith. I don't even know if he'll be that good. Smith turned out to be a pretty good quarterback. You know?
He did.
Once he got his ass straightened out in San Fran, he did very well with them. And then he's done pretty good on the KC. So
he really surprised me too, because I didn't think he was going to end up being a good QB, and he really ended up pulling his shit together and becoming reliable, which is very important.
He was a huge, almost bust because you never got a full body of work on him, because then Rodgers got picked like 20-something spots after him and got 2 rings. So speaking of Aaron Rodgers. Packers last year win the division, NFC North, 10-6. Not a great regular season. They had some crazy wins last year. I mean, they just pulled some shit out of their asses, which was great. They had a great postseason, though, the Green Bay Packers. They beat the Giants in the wild card, like we spoke about before. They killed them. Then they go to Dallas after Dallas has the bye week, and they beat him by a field goal in a great game, if you remember, last year in the divisional round in the NFC. Then they go to Atlanta and just get fucking tattooed 44-21 in the NFC Championship game. Very surprising. I did not expect
that game whatsoever.
I had Green Bay in that game.
So did I. I did too. I mean, I'm going to say right now, I don't know if I said this on the last episode, but if I have a man crush in life, it's Aaron Rodgers when it comes to football. Aaron Rodgers can do no wrong to me. He's like QB of all QBs. Way past Brady in my head. I don't know if that's true number-wise, but Rodgers is a good QB, and he's got some solid talent. He's got Nelson back. Cobb, but, Jordy Nelson's his go-to guy.
Awesome.
He's another one that can do no wrong.
Tough injury last year. Crystal can't help with the sports talk, but wanted to stop in this moment on board. Thank you so much, Crystal.
Thank you, Crystal.
Doll. And Lifton Lemons thinks the Packers own the refs.
I seen her last video, Joe, where she did the chest pop thing. So there you go. I had to do that for her. There you go. That's for you, Crystal.
Dave, I got movement watching Crystal's video. I didn't get movement from watching you. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Now I'm really worried about the Olympia.
We'll see what happens in our room. I may have to take Viagra. Oh, Cobb's days are coming to an end, Mike says. Mike's a big football fan. I love it.
I kind of agree with Mike right there, too.
Yeah.
6 receptions, 610 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's really not saying anything.
Yeah. Crystal moves my lemons, Lifton Lemon says. She does mine too, Lifton Lemons. But definitely, anytime you have Aaron Rodgers in the game, your team is capable of winning a Super Bowl. I mean, he makes plays around him better. I think somebody just wrote that. He makes any wide receiver good, what Rodgers, Mike said. But yes, he does make his wide receivers good. He does make everybody around him look good. If he has time, like you saw him with those bombs, like on that Monday night game and stuff, and then it's just ridiculous what this guy could do. But he has a new tight end, Martellus Bennett. We seem to be repeating names on this show a lot. He had 7 touchdowns for the Pats last year, won the Super Bowl, obviously, with them, and now he's in Green Bay. Maybe, like Mark Chimura type of things. I know that Green Bay's used their tight ends in the past to have, a lot of production out of these guys. Bennett's bounced around, Dallas, Giants, New England. Yeah. He's bounced around a lot, but he's always had pretty good numbers where he's landed. Obviously, last year it was a perfect scenario for him, and he had, Brady throwing him the ball. So now he's got Rodgers throwing him the ball. Not a big drop-off as far as talent level goes as a quarterback. So I think more good things are in store for Bennett. Maybe this guy's like a good luck charm kind of thing, and he can bring in some, rub off some good luck on them. I mean, they made the NFC Championship game last year with a 10-win season. Packers had a great year last year, right?
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. I'm always high on the Packers. Bennett's going to fit in good. They definitely utilize the tight ends, which is important. You got Rodgers, that's a thrower. And all these teams need to like pressure that guy, because if you give him 2 extra seconds in that pocket, he's scoring on you, he's getting that 10 yards.
Mike thinks that they're going to be 12-4, but their defense is going to hurt them. They're going to lose in the title game again.
There you go.
They brought in 2 new cornerbacks. They signed Devon House as a free agent, and they drafted Kevin King. They had the 31st ranked passing defense. A lot of that goes on the line. I know you can't always blame the secondary, because if you don't have pressure on the opposing quarterback, he's going to find time to find a guy open. But bringing in cornerbacks like that is always good. They're very high on King, who they drafted, and they signed the free agent. So we'll see what happens with them. That's a very important thing, obviously, to have a very potent offense. But defensively, that's what's going to – I mean, you give up 44 points. I know, Matty Ice had just a great run last year. And maybe it was Atlanta's year until, the 25-point, lead blow in the Super Bowl. But Atlanta, no slouch team, obviously, to lose to. So I think that Green Bay, right there again, I see them, even though they have a huge question mark, like the Giants at running back. Ty Montgomery, who's converted, he's their top guy right now. Who's going to run the ball for this team, Dave?
You have – I counted this. You've got – James a rookie, Myers a rookie, Phillips a rookie, Williams a rookie, Stanbrook a rookie. Then you have T.Y. Montgomery.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So right off the rip, they're going to be a heavy passing offense. So that's another one. They could end up signing up somebody. They need somebody else besides T.Y. on that team for a running back.
You know who would be a good addition to this team? Matt Forte.
Oh, my God.
Why do the Jets even still have this guy? I don't know, because they have – I don't want to get into the Jet talk right now, but they have a good running backs. They drafted a guy, and they have guys they're bringing back. They want to go young. I don't even know what they should have cut Forte just like they did Decker and all these other guys. So I don't know. Peppers on the Panthers, crazy. Did that just come through the line? They're going to use their fullback more. Yeah, that's Ripkowski. Aaron Ripkowski is their fullback, more in the running game. Maybe like a John Kuhn. Remember, he was like a big.
Yeah, remember, he was a big dude.
Yeah, good fucking good runner, definitely. Packers should have kept Christian Michael. There's football is so tough. I mean, the roster changes are just from week to week and year to year. It's just so much turnover. Denise, hey, what's up from Germany? Denise, how you doing, bro? Fuck the Packers, says Lifton Lemons. You like to fuck a lot of teams, bro. Anything else on Green Bay? I was going to move on to Detroit, but I don't want to jump the gun if you had something for them.
No, that was it. We nailed everything. Devontae Adams, Cobb, Nelson, Montgomery. He's the only running back. Bennett's going to be well used as a tight end. And then, of course, you got Aaron Rodgers. So we can move on to the Lions.
Yes.
Start talking about Mr. Reliable Matt Stafford at 4,327 yards and 24 touchdowns.
Yes. As the Lions go, as Stafford goes. The guy is just a 24 touchdowns, 10 picks, like you said, over 4,300 yards. The thing with them is they haven't won a playoff game in over 25 years. And the division in 20. I think Wayne Fonts was the last time that they won. They used to have Another One Bites the Dust. They used to sing when Wayne Fonts was their coach. I mean, it's going back a ways. Like 91 or something. It was whatever. I forget what it was. But that's the thing with them. I mean, they made the playoffs last year. They were the wild card, 9-7. They lost 26-6 at Seattle. Nobody expected Detroit to win that game in Seattle. So the wild card, they make it, but they get bumped by a team that's phenomenal at home, even though Seattle wasn't as strong last year as they've been in the past. Jim Caldwell's their head coach. I'm not a big Caldwell guy. I don't think he's a great coach, but he seems to be getting a lot out of this group. They had a really good season last year for them, right?
Yeah. Golden Tate stepped up, Jones. I mean, they have a good core wide receiving thing. You got Asasia for the running back. Riddick. They have a good, solid team. and they have a very reliable QB. So I'm actually more surprised every time that they do as well as they do, you know?
Yeah.
Especially with no Calvin Johnson.
That's what Mike Crazy Horse just said with no Calvin Johnson last year, who abruptly
Yeah,
retired
Calvin
like Barry Sanders did, you know, just guys that were still massively productive and bailed out. The thing with me, which is going to be a very questionable thing with Detroit, is their bookend tackle, situation. Taylor Decker, he's out with shoulder surgery, so Greg Robinson, who is a former number 2 overall pick who has not been that effective, is filling in for him. And also they brought in Ricky Wagner, right tackle from the Ravens. So when you have some shuffling going on in your offensive line and you don't have running backs, I mean, they have their top running back from last year, Amir Abdullah, under 600 yards, Dave. So they don't have a lot of weapons as far as offensive guys go.
No, you're right.
You know,
Asiata. They got Asiata. So there's a lot of work to be done on the Lions. How do you see them in that division?
I think because it's not a great division and you're playing, your 2 divisional games a year against your divisional opponents, outside of Green Bay, all of those games are winnable for Detroit.
Exactly.
So I think they'll pick up some W's within the division. They have a lot of things that are kind of question marks. I think if Stafford can find those receivers, they're going to be able to do good. I think he's going to see a lot of nickel and dime situations because of the lack of the running game. Middle linebacker, they had a rookie, first-round rookie. He's going to be counted on to call the plays, Jared Davis. So a lot of question marks. 6-2 at home, 3-5 on the road. Not unusual for the team like the Lions. They're usually much better at home. Even when they are a bad team, they usually play fairly competitive at home. So I don't know. I mean, do the Lions make the playoffs 2 years in a row? I have a feeling they don't this year. Maybe 8-8, and then they miss out.
8-8, and then go by the scoring. Yeah, I could see that happening. But yeah, with the Bears and Minnesota in that division, they're right up there. Unfortunately, it's a weak division.
It is a weak division. Yeah. So I think Detroit. I don't know if they do what they did last year and make the playoffs. They were only 1 win away from the division title, but they're also 1 win away from not making the playoffs if they go the other way. So I think a small step back. I didn't really say much about Green Bay. I think Green Bay goes 11 or 12 this year, wins. Yeah. I think they're going to have a much better regular season than they did last year.
Mike put Calvin Johnson should come out of retirement and join the Packers.
Wow. That would be...
If that ever happened, I would be popping tent in my pants. I would be an excited fantasy football league owner.
Yeah, Megatron with Rodgers. I mean, listen, Stafford's a great quarterback, but just as an all-around team, all around him, and Green Bay is so much better offensively.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Yeah, but speaking of 8-8, I think a very surprising 8-8 out of the Vikes last year, especially with everything that was going on. They bring in Bradford late. Bridgewater's knee explodes on a non-contact play in practice early in training camp last year. I saw yesterday on NFL Network, Bridgewater was at practice, not contact, nothing, but no knee brace on, and he was moving around pretty good, and he said he feels really good. Obviously still a long way to go, but they bring in Bradford last year. He does pretty good. I mean, what did he have? 18 and 15, 3,500 yards. For Sam Bradford, that's not bad.
No, that's not.
I mean, this guy's to me, he's kind of a, he could be okay. He's not a great quarterback, but he had a very productive season coming in, learning the playbook late. I think they got him like right around the 4th preseason game, if I'm not mistaken. They made that trade with Philly. So having him there for a full off season, learning the playbook better after he had a good season first time around the block in Minnesota, I think Bradford's going to be good. But I don't know. I mean, Peterson, I don't have a problem with them letting him go. I think he's a running back with a knee injury. I don't see him being he's more of a, numismatic value than he really had production value on that team. So offensively, Latavius Murray, he had 4 yards average carry, 12 TDs, and almost 800 yards on the ground. I don't think you lose a lot right there.
Nope. He should have stayed with Oakland. He ain't doing shit anywhere else.
Kevin Grant. I'm more passionate about the NFL and major. This is where I started, man. Bodybuilding's fun, but fuck football, man.
Now this is where me and you we're a little different because you're so passionate about football, and I'm diehard, man. You can't get me out of the house on Sunday and Monday or Thursday. My wife sits and watches it with me, so she's just as bad as me. Playing fantasy football helps a lot. But when it comes to bodybuilding, you see that passion that you have?
Yeah.
That's my passion.
I just can't do it.
But you can see it radiating from you, bro. This is your shtick.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. I love it. And I could fucking sports talk. I would love to be a sports talk radio host. I would be happy as a fucking pig in shit, man. But Kyle Rudolph, this guy's a stud at tight end for the Vikings.
Yes.
Stud. 7 touchdowns, 840 yards, 83 receptions at tight end. That's great fucking numbers, bro.
He's relied on very heavily in Minnesota.
Yes. Yeah.
God forbid something happens to him because he is that team right now, especially with no Peterson. He is your go-to guy, in my opinion. He's the one that needs the double coverage. Hi, Cherry.
Bodybuilders stand for the national anthem, Mike says. You got a good point there. That fucking kills me. I don't even want to get into that. Let's just talk game stuff now. I don't want to talk about that fucking shit.
Yeah. Don't get into politics and football, goddammit.
Yeah. No, but he made a good point, though. It's funny, Stephon Diggs. This is another guy. They want to see him do another. He had a good year last year. 3 touchdowns, almost 11 yards average, 84 catches. Not great numbers, but good numbers. I mean, for a wide receiver, you want a little more, so they're going to expect a little more from this guy because he showed that he's able to do it. They bring in Riley Reiff, the free agent, 5 years, $17.3 million deal. He gets hurt the first day of training camp, Dave. Left tackle. But they say he's going to be okay. They don't think it's going to be one of these long-term injuries. But it's just like, man, you bring in a new left tackle. You want this guy, even on 7-on-7 drills, you want this guy there. You don't want to have him sidelined at all. So I guess it's just bad luck on the Vikes' part to have him go down with that. But they did say, last I read, they said they don't expect it to be a long-term thing. Defensive end, Everson Griffin, over 30 sacks the last 3 years. And Danielle Hunter, 12.5 sacks last year. He's only 22 years of age, this guy.
He's a baby. He's just going to grow into the sport, man. Yeah. He's another one that reminds me of Mac for Oakland. Not trying to get into Oakland talk, but he's another one that is like definitely going to knock some quarterbacks on their ass.
Yep. Yeah. Small with Connor Smith, he's talking about Mike. He's fucking, that guy can fucking throw a fucking hit. Strong safety for the Vikings. But we're getting close to 4 o'clock, so I'm going to move on to the Bears, Dave.
Okay.
3-13, a disaster last year in the Windy City. Jay Cutler retires. Now he's back with the Dolphins, but he left, gone, goodbye. I don't think the Bears are shedding tears over Mr. Cutler leaving. They bring in, we spoke about this on a short show, so I don't want to reiterate what we spoke about. They bring in Glennon. They give him some good money as a free agent. Then they trade up from 3 to 2. They give a lot to give up, and they pick Trubisky, number 2 overall. Glennon hasn't started in 2 years. When he was with the Bucs, he was a backup. He looked fucking hard. I know it's preseason, but he looked horrible. He had a 0 quarterback rating the other night.
That horrible, yeah. Oh.
I mean, I was watching the lowlights, if you will. He looked bad. Trubisky did look better, but again, we don't know what's the defense that he's playing against. Could be totally different. He looked like he had some good scrambling ability, which is just athletic ability. That doesn't matter who you're playing against. If you can scramble, you're going to be able to scramble. I think that's a good sign for them. Glennon's going to start. John Fox, I think this guy, is he going to even make the rest of the season? Or
nope.
I think they're going to go with a younger coach, maybe with a,
I do too.
A coordinator, a hotshot coordinator. Jordan Howard last year, running back, over 1,300 yards as a rookie last year. So, again, you want to see this guy get the carries again. That's what you got to build this team with young guys. Glennon's fairly young, too. So even if they do keep him, because I know he's guaranteed like 16 this year, and then they can cut him and they won't take a big hit. So maybe that's their plan. Get Trubisky in before the end of the year. get some money's worth out of Mike Glennon, and then run the ball a lot with Jordan Howard.
The funny thing about Glennon, and this is just my opinion, do you feel like he has the confidence to be a starter, to be a quarterback? I think he's been so used and chewed up, he's just there with the money right now on that team.
You know what? You got a good point. I mean, he gets money flash in front of his eyes. He's going to grab it because he hasn't had the opportunity. Yeah, he'd be nuts not to do it. I mean, I know they wanted him to be the guy in Tampa Bay, but then they get the top draft pick, and there's a good quarterback draft, and they got to go with it, and worked out great for them so far, that move. But Glennon, I know a couple of years ago, he was going to be a free agent. They re-signed him. So they obviously had plans for him at some point in time. And he did get a few starts a couple of years back, before 3 years ago. I don't know. It's hard to tell because there's not a lot of film on this guy as a professional quarterback to see what he can do. And the teams he was on, they were weak, which he's going to be dealing with here in Chicago. So I don't know. I think once they had a chance to draft a guy like Trubisky, they may have had second thoughts, like maybe we shouldn't have signed Glennon after all.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you already know you're pretty much in for a shitty season, probably going to be last in your division to go with, build your team around the starting quarterback, and let's do it that way instead of signing so much money to somebody that's really not. He hasn't showed that he's worth that money. Yeah,
no, I definitely don't think I know the Jets liked him, but they didn't even want to go near that fucking dollar amount, per season, or even to give him that guaranteed in year one of that deal. But the Bears, they do pick up some, high ceiling, low gamble guys with Victor Cruz, Prince Amukamara, also used to be on the Giants, a cornerback, and Quentin Demps, a safety from the Texans, who's had some good seasons. So if Cruz is healthy, which when you lose a guy with his knee like that, he had some really bad knee injuries, it's going to be tough for him to stretch the field like he's used to doing when he was with the Giants. But he's the kind of guy that's a good target. He's got good hands. He can make something happen after the catch, also yards after the catch with him. So you do like to see if Trubisky gets in there, he might have a good target in a guy like Victor Cruz. Does he have anything left in the tank?
He's going to have to rely on him. He's going to have to rely on him. But how's Cruz going to react to being in Chicago? A whole different playbook, a whole different thing. He's not with the Giants anymore. Yes. There's so many what ifs on the thing, and he's another one. When he wants to play, he's going to play. If he's not feeling like this team is going to do any good, Cruz ain't going to go out of his way and bust his ass for one-handed catches and shit.
No.
Not that type of person. He's just going to be make it rain and pay me the bills. That's all it's going to be. So hopefully Trubisky throws that ball and he has a good season. So we'll see how that one goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think another year in that 3-4 win range is in store for the the Bears. I mean, it sucks because they're such a great team. I've been to that stadium. It's a great place to watch a game. The crowd is awesome.
Great fan base.
Great fan base, and when they're a winning team, it's so much fun. I love that old uniform. I mean, to me, it's just a classic look on them. I love the dark uniforms at home, and it just sucks when you see this team just be a doormat of the fucking league, just considering that they're such a good thing. Hey, what's wrong with you? Cosgrove, please, the floor is yours, Cosgrove. Cosgrove seems to get a lot of fucking...
Don't give that dude any fucking flaws. He can blow me.
He gets a lot of playtime, this guy, right?
You give him way too much playtime, bro. Way too much. It's the Cosgrove show.
Cosgrove thinks I'm looking down. I don't look down. I'm talking about the NFL. I got a fucking Woody right now. There's nobody cheerleading. He's even showing me their ass crack.
That you and Cosgrove have something in common because we just mentioned his name. So he's at home jerking off right now because you gave him some shine time.
Yes.
So
great stadium, but fuck the Bears, go Packers. I got to get to Lambeau. That's a stadium that's on my bucket list. I have to get to Fenway. I got to get to Lambeau. I've been to a lot, but I haven't been to all of them, obviously. So
you haven't been to Fenway?
No. I've been to the Celtics. I've been to TD for the Celtics. I haven't been to Fenway. I know. What the fuck's wrong with me? I've been to Wrigley, but I haven't been to Fenway.
I thought for certain you would have went and gone and seen a game at Fenway.
I've been to Philly to see Citizens Bank. So, we just lost our feed.
Wow. Dude. Oh, we're over.
It's an hour, dude. Well, we can go a few minutes longer on the regular recording, but the live feed has ended because I don't want to restart another one. We're only going to go a couple more minutes. But next week on Wednesday, Dave, we'll cover the rest of the NFC, with South and the West.
Sounds good.
Obviously, I think the NFC South, another division that's like, it's hard to fucking put your finger on some of these things. You know, are the Panthers going to be good? Are they going to have a bounce back year? It's hard to really tell what's going to happen.
It's very open.
It is open. Atlanta, did they shoot their load last year? Are they going to have another big solid season? I don't know. And then obviously in the wild, wild West, it's kind of mild. It's not really a wild West. It's not. You know, it's kind of, but we'll cover those teams on next week on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. But that is pretty much going to do it for us on this first episode. Kicked off, bro.
Dude, that went by fast, man. I enjoyed every single second of it.
I fucking love it, man. You saw the glow, my football glow. You know?
Dude, the football glow was crazy. I told you shine. That's where you shine. That's like you and me having a conversation about comic books and say you don't even read comic books. But that little shine in them dimples, it's like the 8-year-old Joe is there. You know, that's your shit, man.
I do. I am a comic book fan from years ago. I love the Fantastic Four.
Okay.
I don't collect anymore. I do have some. I got some old ones that I kept around in my EC because I had, you saw with the cover of the magazine, I have a big fucking infatuation with EC Comics. But I do also enjoy some superhero stuff. Fantastic Four and the Hulk being two of my favorites. So we'll have some good conversation in Vegas. We don't have to all be about bodybuilding and the NFL. We can do a little Marvel and DC.
I'm flexible. Maybe I shouldn't tell you I'm flexible, but I'm flexible.
Yes, you might be flexible in more ways than you know when you come back, though.
This ain't going on the YouTube channel, I hope.
Yes, it is, yes. That's going to do it for us on this first episode of NFL Coast to Coast. For Comerica Muscle, Dave Goys, I am Joe Pietaro. We will see you next week right here on Instagram Live and Muscle Sport TV. Take care, guys.
Later, guys.